Imagine a grand hall in 17th century England, where candlelight flickers on gilded walls and whispers of scandal ripple through the court. King James I, a monarch anointed by God, locks eyes with a dashing young courtier, his lips brushing the man's cheek in a brazen public kiss. The room gasps, nobles clutch their pearls, and England's moral guardians seethe. Why would a king risk his crown for such open affection? What secrets fueled his defiance? Stay with me, because this tale of love, power, and controversy will grip you until its dramatic end. In 1603, James VI of Scotland became James I of England, uniting two crowns under a single ruler. A scholar king, he penned theological treatises and championed the Bible's translation. Yet his personal life sparked whispers that echoed through history. James, with his sharp wit and disheveled charm, was no stranger to controversy. His court buzzed with rumors of his preference for male favorites, men like Robert Carr and George Villiers, later Duke of Buckingham, who rose from obscurity to wield immense power. These relationships, marked by public displays of affection, kisses, embraces, and lavish gifts, shocked a Puritan-leaning England bound by rigid moral codes. James's affection for his favorites began early in his reign. At 37, he was drawn to the youthful charisma of Robert Carr, a handsome Scot who caught the king's eye during a jousting accident. James knighted him, showered him with titles, and openly caressed him at banquets, his hand lingering on Carr's shoulder as courtiers exchanged uneasy glances. Letters between them, dripping with intimacy, called Carr "my sweet child" and "my only love." The court, a nest of ambition and gossip, buzzed with speculation. Was this love, patronage, or something more dangerous? Puritans decried it as sodomy. Nobles saw opportunities to exploit the king's affections. By 1614, a new star rose, George Villiers, a 22-year-old with golden curls and a magnetic smile. James, smitten, nicknamed him Steenie after Saint Stephen, whose face shone like an angel. Villiers' ascent was meteoric. Knighted, then elevated to Duke of Buckingham, he became James's closest confidant. Their public displays, kisses on the cheek, hands clasped during council meetings, ignited outrage. Yet James, unapologetic, declared, "I love the Earl of Buckingham more than anyone else." England's elite, torn between loyalty and disgust, watched as the king's heart shaped the kingdom's fate. James's court was a theater of excess, where favorites wielded power that rivaled the nobility. Robert Carr, now Earl of Somerset, was the first to dominate. As Lord Chamberlain, he controlled access to the king, amassing wealth and influence. James gifted him estates, jewels, and even a royal marriage to Frances Howard, a union that sparked its own scandal when her first husband was mysteriously poisoned. Carr's arrogance grew, his favor with James a shield against critics. But his star dimmed when he clashed with the king's new obsession, George Villiers. Villiers, cunning and ambitious, outmaneuvered Carr with charm and flattery. By 1616, he was the king's shadow, accompanying him on hunts and whispering counsel in private chambers. James's letters to Villiers were unabashedly tender. "I desire only to live in this world for your sake." Their intimacy was no secret. Courtiers saw James kiss Villiers openly at Greenwich Palace, his arm draped around the younger man's waist. The French ambassador reported the king's affection is so public it cannot be concealed. Nobles like the Earl of Pembroke fumed, their influence eclipsed by a commoner turned duke. The court's unease deepened as Villiers' power grew. As Lord Admiral, he controlled England's navy, yet his incompetence led to failed expeditions, draining the treasury. James, blinded by affection, ignored the murmurs. Puritans preached fire and brimstone, citing Leviticus to condemn the king's unnatural behavior. Pamphlets circulated, mocking James as the husband of Buckingham. Yet the king doubled down, hosting lavish masques where Villiers danced as his golden muse. Their bond, a spectacle that both dazzled and repelled. The scandal reached a peak in 1622, when James and Villiers shared a private retreat at Newmarket. Rumors swirled of late-night banquets where the king, wine-flushed, toasted his sweet Steenie before retiring together. Diplomats wrote of England's shame, warning that James' openness threatened alliances with Catholic powers like Spain. The king, undeterred, knighted Villiers' entire family, cementing his favorite's dynasty. But beneath the glitter, a storm was brewing. Nobles plotted, and Carr's fall foreshadowed dangers even Villiers couldn't escape. James's unchecked favoritism sowed discord. Robert Carr's downfall was the first crack. Accused of complicity in the poisoning of Sir Thomas Overbury, a critic of his influence, Carr faced trial in 1616. James, torn between loyalty and justice, spared his life but banished him from court. The king's heart, bruised but unyielding, turned fully to Villiers. Yet Buckingham's rise only fueled resentment. Nobles like the Duke of Lennox whispered of rebellion, while Parliament, emboldened by Puritan fervor, demanded reforms to curb the king's extravagance. Villiers, now England's most powerful man, was a lightning rod. His failed military ventures, like the 1625 Cadiz expedition, cost lives and gold, earning him enemies across the realm. In 1623, James sent Villiers to Spain to negotiate a royal marriage for Prince Charles. The mission collapsed, and Villiers' arrogance alienated the Spanish court, humiliating England. Back home, MPs accused him of treason, but James shielded him, dissolving Parliament to silence critics. The king's public kisses, once a curiosity, became a symbol of misrule. Nobles saw a monarch ruled by his heart, not his crown. James' health faltered by 1624, his body weakened by gout and grief. At 58, he clung to Villiers, who nursed him through illnesses, their bond deepening in private chambers. But the court was fracturing. Queen Anne, long estranged, died in 1619, leaving James isolated. His son Charles, wary of Villiers' influence, grew distant. In March 1625, James fell gravely ill at Theobald's house. As he lay dying, Villiers fed him remedies, but whispers of poison spread. Had Buckingham hastened the king's end to secure his power under Charles? On March 27th, 1625, James died. His final words, a murmur to Steenie. England mourned a scholar king but cursed his favorites. Villiers, now advisor to King Charles I, faced a hostile court. James I's reign left England transformed and scarred. His Bible, still revered, shaped faith for centuries. Yet his personal life fueled debate. Historians like Anthony Weldon branded him a fool, swayed by pretty men, while others saw a king ahead of his time, unashamed of his affections in a repressive age. Letters between James and Villiers, preserved in archives, reveal a tenderness rare for monarchs. Blurring the line between patronage and love. Was James a romantic defying convention, or a ruler undone by obsession? The scandal of his favorites reshaped England's politics. Buckingham's mismanagement weakened the crown, paving the way for Charles I's conflicts with Parliament, which sparked the English Civil War. Puritans, emboldened by James' controversies, pushed for moral reforms that outlasted his reign. Yet his openness, however shocking, challenged the era's rigid norms, leaving a legacy of courage in vulnerability. Paintings of James and Villiers, their faces close, adorn museum walls, a testament to a bond that defied a kingdom. England's gossip faded, but James's story endures. From Shakespeare's Globe to modern scholarship, his life inspires questions. What is the cost of loving boldly? How does a king balance heart and crown? His kisses, once scandalous, now whisper of a man who dared to feel. Did James love too fiercely, or was England too afraid of his truth? Share this story, and let's unravel the secrets of a king who kissed in the light.